Greetings, family. We're live on Revolutionary Cam at Bomani Technology, and I'm here with my good brother,
Jonathan Hill.
Right? And our family, we're here to talk about Pan-Africanism versus Black American nationalism.
That's right. That's a big topic today that we're dealing with within the community, and how there seems to be different segments that are pushing towards nationalism on the continent of our ancestors versus nationalism here within the United States or the diaspora.
All right, perfect. So one of the things we're looking to do is clarify definition. So let's go into some definitions. What would you consider Black nationalism, or how would you just give an overview of what it is for clarity to proceed with the rest of the conversation?
So for clarity, overall, what Black nationalism is any nationalist person that is interested in developing, constructing a social, economic, and political infrastructure of their own. So when we talk about Black nationalism, we're talking about that of Black African people. And here today we have two different types.
Right, and how is that different from Pan-Africanism?
Pan-Africanism is the global realization of our people across the globe. So we're looking at it not just within the context or confines of America, but we're have our interest in the well-being and security of Africans globally, whether that's on the continent or whether that's throughout the diaspora. It's the same thing, but it's just our focus is for the welfare and the protection of our people globally.
Absolutely. And now, so when you talk about the two different lines of people that are drawn, let's go into details. Earlier, you and I was having a conversation, and we're talking about people with a mindset of, we built this in America, and what they stand for is wanting to be a nation within a nation in America. And then you have those of us, like myself and yourself, who sees us building a future in Africa, building these communities, building these enterprises on the continent, and creating more opportunities for ourselves is the way to go. And it's not a right or wrong situation. It's just we're trying to explain the difference and the reality. But the goal for us really is more of a Pan-African energy. We're focused far too long on America, and we're just basically just running fast and getting nowhere. So that's why we're proposing that those of you that's so into we built this and Black American nationalism, we're saying if we're able to connect you guys to connect on a continent to where we can build the things that we need to build as a people, we'll have everything we need. We're literally fighting for things in America that we'll never achieve. We argue and beef with these people about the curriculum in the school system over and over, to the point where they just work us over to where they work certain things in the system, as far as you say you're not teaching us enough Black history.
Right.
So I'm going to give you Black history. I'm going to give you a slave version of Black history, and I'm going to teach it to you where it's so depressing, to where your children are just going to grow up to feel like only thing that they have as a people and their connection is just through slavery. So we have to be careful about all the things that we're fighting for. The things that we're fighting for, our oppressors are going to just give us their version. We complain about we want a Black superhero. You know what I'm saying? So there you go. Marvel gave you Black Panther.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you keep on asking for things, they're going to give it to you, and then while they're giving it to you, that's where they're going to pull over this trickery of domination on you, and psychologically controlling your mind to where you're working in the interest of your own destruction, to where we're getting these plantation jobs. Now you got the money, now you're going to go buy a nice house in a whiter part of town than anything else, and you're going to buy that nice expensive car, that white dealership. You're going to get all these nice insurance packages and so on and so on, and all you're really doing is building your own destruction in America. So if we talk about Pan-Africanism now, you talk about the interest of where we're building these things, but it's more communally. So now when you and I are building things or doing things in a country like Ghana, we're doing it in the interest of our own people, in the interest of what we're building. Just like if we're supporting Black-owned business in Ghana, those Black-owned enterprises are putting the money back in their own country. So those are some of the difference, family.
So yeah, just looking at it, there's several ways to look at this whole topic of Pan-Africanism. When we think about it, what it really is putting the pieces back together. We're taking pieces that were broken down from the Ma'afa, from things that happened in colonialism, through our enslavement throughout the diaspora, and we're putting the pieces back together. We're linking back with our sisters and brothers. A lot of us are what you would call, there's people that are lost Negroes, that are completely dominated in their minds and thinking about this system. But we're putting the pieces back together. We're bringing our focus and our energies back to doing for ourselves. And we have several examples throughout time of our ancestors have already told us what to do. But it's just up to us to have the right vision and follow through with that. So we have Race First, Tony Martin. The third chapter has here, quote from the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey. He says, when we as members of the Universal Negro Improvement Association talk about a government of our own in Africa, a flag of our own, and a national anthem of our own, some Negroes laugh at us. But we have only pity for them, as they know not what they do. When Uncle Sam lynches her black boys with her uniform on their back, and John Bull calls her ex-soldiers aliens who helped her in the Ashanti and Zulu wars to take big slices of Africa, then it is high time for some dull, apathetic Negroes to think in terms of nationhood. So we think about it. We want a nation of our own. We want land of our own. We want to have our own infrastructure. We want to have our own government, self-governing. People throughout the community, they constantly talk about, how we're constantly oppressed and everybody's the white man is the devil, they're Urugu, but we really want to put this in terms of putting it down and laying it down. Like, we really believe that we're going to push for a Pan-African nation of our own. I like to think of it a lot of times when the great Dr. John Henry Clark, he said, to him, there's no solution short of nationhood, and there's no solution short of an international application of Pan-Africanism.
Absolutely, family. So that's where we're at, family. So we're clearing these things up. So now let's get into issues that we have with more of the nationalist mentality. Back again, one of the things we have to look at in America, look at the last 100 years, look at the different movements of oppression that we have dealt with. Look at Reconstruction, that was supposed to be a good thing for our people.
Right.
And then look what the after effects of that. Then we talk about Jim Crow, we talking about segregation, then we talking about integration. It's just a continuous just traps and distractions, and to the point where we're just it's like we're chasing our tails. And also
Ferris wheels, like Dr. Khalid Muhammad said, Ferris wheels, we keep spinning around and around.
So I'm here to say that this Black American nationalism doesn't work, and folks out there who's all about this pro-America and this and pro-Black America and we built this, if you want to take offense, you can take offense, but look at what I just said and you tell me if we have been progressing as a people. I spoke to some of our elders who lived in Atlanta during segregation, and they explained to us that you get what you guys talking about independence. We was like, we had all those things and we just gave it away.
Right.
We gave it away to where the black neighborhoods that we lived in, where we used to have a lot of control and organized aspect of where we had our own business and where we actually own things in our own neighborhood. We had that at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And then our folks with the cash flow and the resources left out all these communities. And you and I was driving around Atlanta, and you and I was pointing out that same fact.
Right.
So if we keep on talking about Black American nationalism, where has it gotten us? It has gotten us to the point where our communities and neighborhoods don't have black ownership and they're run down. Now, if we put the next set of energy in the next 50 years into Pan-Africanism, which is based really on building the foundation of Africa for a future of connection to the rest of the world. So we're saying, let's build the African continent, build those enterprises, build all those things that we need to put in place. And then once those things are built, then we can reach out stronger to the African diaspora. Mm-hmm. But trying to think that we can build a Black America to build other things, obviously is not working. So there's a lot of people that's really pushing this stuff. But family, get back into the books and study Marcus Garvey. Do we have a Garvey book? Yeah, pass me
this one. We had the.
All right, perfect. African-centered consciousness versus the New World Order, Garveyism in the Age of Globalism. Now, family, in this book, Amos Wilson analyzed the theory of Marcus Garvey as far as Africa for the Africans and us building the energy in the African continent. And he compared the situation of globalism. Now, when Marcus Garvey's talking about Africa for the Africans, he's putting us on a global connection scale. And, we live in a global age, realistically. And you see other nations and race of people, they're moving around the globe, doing and building what they need to build. Black America got to get into the global game, and that global game is going to connect you to Africa. And that's why we do incredible tours and investment to the African continent, linking you in incredible countries like Ghana, South Africa, Ethiopia, and so on. And family, we just got to really get back into looking at the concept and stop dividing ourselves. And it seems like that's what we keep on falling for.
Right. Yeah, I just want to say, Bamani, I'm sure you would agree that we need a base of operations. So, I think the modern day Pan-Africanism is not saying that everybody has to come. We know that it's not going to be a massive Back to Africa movement. We know that our people are, for the most part, love it here within the diaspora, love it within America, and that there's going to be black folks, even if they're nationalists, that are going to be here. We know that that's fine, but what we're saying and what we're proposing is that you need to have your base of operations where you have true sovereignty, because to us, sovereignty is the key. Bibi Fahodie, Black African liberation. I think it really needs to be defined when we're speaking of this subject of Black American nationalism versus Pan-Africanism, that there is a difference between what a lot of people are saying of Black economic empowerment versus Black power. What is power? There's many definitions as Baba Amos Wilson has put it of what power is, but the basis of power, as we all know, is land. You know what I'm saying? So if you don't control the land, if you don't own and control the land and everything that goes with that, then you really don't have any basis of power. When you look at some of these other immigrant groups, other races of people that are coming within the context of America, they all come from a place where they have a nation of their own. So they have people that are looking out for their welfare and their safety wherever they may be. If a Japanese or a Chinese man could be done very wrong here, they have a government that will support and back them. So likewise, as you know, we need that in for the diaspora and Africans. We're all one global family, and really we need to look at that. We need to look at universal African nationalism. We need to look at truly loving our people globally. It's not just about us here in United States of America or Haitians or Trinidadians. The point of Pan-Africanism is that it ain't nothing but a boat stop. That's the only thing that separates us. We're all African people. At the end of the day, that's what we are, and we need to link and connect with each other and build the pieces back together.
Excellent, brother. Appreciate the energy and the clarification.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to see if we have anything we may have missed as far as these definitions and these examples as far as Pan-Africanism versus Black
Right. You have
American nationalism.
Yeah, I would have to give credit to one of my brothers from the Black African Infrastructure Organization, Brother Holub. He definitely talks about militant integrationists and Black Power Americans. And so in the context of America, we have many people that are not even nationalists, but they believe in building a better America. They don't have a problem with the glass ceiling, but they have a problem with the injustices that are done here within the context of America. So they push oftentimes militant policies or things that go against the system, but don't want to break away from the system. Those are what we call militant integrationists. Then you have the next group, which is the Black Power Americans, where they know the injustices historically. They can break down everything from a conscious perspective. They know the historical time frame, but they, for whatever reason, they still want to stay here. And within that, you got people that say they're the Moors and Hebrew Israelites and the different segments that we have in the quote unquote conscious community, that they say all these things, but at the end of the day, they're still here because they feel that for whatever reason that they want to build here and that this is our homeland. But you have to realize at the end of the day that even though that we were here before the Urugu and Europeans, that blood has to be spilt, that they're not going to go down without a fight. So I would think that the best thing that we could do is build up a base of operations, and then from there develop that nationhood and link with our other sisters and brothers throughout the diaspora, and build up a power base so we could take out whatever we want to take out.
Perfect, God. Thank you for sharing that, and I want to connect into sharing with you some of the great communities that we have built. We talking about Tulsa, Oklahoma,
right?
And we talking about Black Wall Street,
right?
It's going back again. Like we've been there, done that. We talk about Rosewood. We talk about many prominent African communities thriving, and then a lot of times what happened, these evil, wicked white devils destroy the movements. They're right here in your face, right here around you. So I'm not saying that building these enterprises and making these moves to Africa is perfect and we're not going to have any issues and things. I'm saying that is our best move when we look at all the situations that have gone here in America and there in the African continent. Asians are coming in more and more, and they're living comfortably, they're investing, they're building, they're doing things, and it's working out for them. They're basically taking advantage of the opportunities that Black Americans should be taking advantage of. A lot of times we get caught up into they sold us into slavery and this and that happened, and it's like and many people just analyze that theory completely wrong to where they confuse themselves more than anything else. But those things I don't want to get into. But it's like we have to look at the fact that we're a global African people, and Asia for the Asians. So the Chinese people in the world focus mainly on China as the power, the mainland, and the Chinese in the diaspora outside of mainland China are all over the world working in the interest
other people
of Chinese nationalism, or you can say Chinese Pan-Africanism, Chinese pan
whatever they are.
Excuse me, family. Chinese
Pan-Asian or whatever. For their
but
people.
It's still what we call Asia for the Asians. Just like when I talk about the factions of Europeans that go around the world and build their colonies and suck the lifeblood out of Black nations. Now these people are thinking about their mainland. And so of them thinking about their mainland, they have the folks in the diaspora outside of that mainland working in the interest to keeping it strong.
Right.
So that's basically what I'm saying to Black people in the African diaspora, Black people in America, in the Caribbean, Black folks in Europe, and wherever you are outside of Africa.
Right.
It's a solution that has worked for every other people, but the reason why it has not worked for us because it's not really something that we'll put a lot of time into. I'll meet more and more of our folks that's mainly focused on this fallacy of building a future in America.
Right.
And it's just that simple. If we shift our interests, we have the most incredible continent with the most incredible operations going. You see the movie Black Panther, you talk about Wakanda, you talk about 50-something nations of Wakandas. We have already lost 500 years. So, you can imagine, where we'd be, but you can also imagine where we'd be and where we can actually go if we actually change direction of that shift.
There's still time, brothers and sisters.
So I would say, I'm even going as far as saying sacrifice America, Black folks, and make it happen in Africa.
Right. Oftentimes with this, when we speak of nation building, there's really one question that I want to pose to the audience, and I want everybody to think about. And this is something that I get from specifically Minister Dawood from the Black African Infrastructure Organization. And the question is, what is your end game? What are you looking to? What is your end state? What is our overall mission? What are we trying to set for our children and our children's children? Is the solution to just build here in America independent neighborhoods and communities where we make it somewhat comfortable, or do we really want a true and sovereign nation state that is going to look after our interests? I mean, what are we building for the next generations? We need to start thinking about those things. As our historic enemy and our other oppressors, they think 50 to 100 years down the line, as Brother attorney Automatics has pointed out to us, that we need to start thinking about our forecasting, thinking about the future. Why would we build here and put all of our eggs in just in this basket when we see that, you know, our homeland is being taken over and overrun by the Asiatics once again? They're developing infrastructure and they're coming in there. I mean, I don't want to just be here and our homeland is we got to speak Chinese or Mandarin, you know, within 50 years. That's no good. I think we need to grow up as African-centered folk in our consciousness, and we need to decide that we're gonna put our focus on Africa, our homeland. We're gonna make Wakanda a reality, and then we can also do things elsewhere. But the focus needs to be brought back. Our ancestors already warned us what to do. They told us what to do. It's up to us to finish that.
Absolutely, brother. Appreciate you just shedding a light on all of these things. So, family, I'm hoping that all of this is clear, and I'm hoping that more and more of our brothers and sisters out here in the Black America can think about joining the Pan-African movement, and we're even looking for people who are willing to do or open to do their own independent research and go to different African countries and, you know, scope things out, connect and network, build that relationship with our own brothers and sisters, and pave way to make sure that we have land and things set up that way we can make the great exodus migration movement. It's to the point where you know, I'm not sure how long this is going to last here, but you know, you have that wicked devil number 45 in place, and I so appreciate that energy right now, because it was so much needed. Because a lot of things that people like myself and the great scholars that, you know, we learn from has been saying for a long time is really coming to the pass, where, you know, where now you're looking at a situation where America don't really need black people.
That's right.
I mean, people be like, well, we're the best basketball players, football players, or that. Well, I mean, you can say all that, the best entertainers, and all people really saying is that, you know, we have the best entertainers, basically,
right,
and athletes. You know, this country, to run this country, you know, all of the smart, genius minds of things, they can get from other race and nations of people. You know, look at India. Right. Look at Indians. A lot of jobs I remember this, you know, us having in New York City. You know, you see more, you know, light or white Hispanics getting, and then, you know, more Indians and more Asians in general. It's coming to the situation where you're being squeezed out. We talk about the neighborhoods all across the urban world in America, you know, that are primarily black, that are being taken over by, you know, investors of other, you know, other race. And, you know, and the reality of it is none of us own these neighborhoods and things, and that's what we have to realize. If we really felt some level of ownership, we'd have invested in our neighborhoods and not just run over to where white folks were. So we've dropped the ball, and we have got to, you know, take responsible for it. You know, we've dropped the ball, just like a lot of these black sellout governments around the world. That's from the Caribbean and Africa. It is. You know, I'm talking about all of the Caribbean and Africa. That's, you know, that's where that black presence is. Yeah. So we've globally dropped the ball. So we're also saying that it's not too late, but we need to shift and get busy with it. And some of the best things you can do is make a trip to the motherland and put things in place. AfricaForAfricans.org is one access to get you connected into the African continent, mainly to countries like Ghana, and you know, building energy and bridges to Ethiopia and also South Africa, and then, you know, more countries to come. But you know, it's at the same time to, you know, even if you're not looking to go on a tour group, you know, we have helped a lot of people make those moves in the country that are not necessarily on our tour and everything. So we have a strong connection, but we just need people to be clear about what they're looking to do and open to that connection. But the best thing to do is to come on one of our tours, to where we take you around the country in Ghana, and you see the different aspects of land that you can develop or build. You connect with our brothers and sisters from the African diaspora, and also our brothers and sisters there that are present information as far as how to live and do business and how to set things up. And when you go around the country, you're meeting your own people that have put things in place. You're staying at black-owned hotels. You're connecting with brothers and sisters from the African diaspora that are there, you know, running enterprises and doing things. So we are connecting you into a world. We're not just telling you just to go to Africa and just hope things work out. We're telling you that it's already worked out. Ghana represents an incredible movement of just African diaspora communities, and we're going to take people to 2 different communities, but there's so much more going on. And then the thing of it is we have so much more countries to work on, but it's the works that get things done, not talking and fantasizing and hoping that our oppressors one day just want to treat us equal and want to share things with us. You know, family, the game in America is over. It is over and done. The bougie black folks who got a little bit of money, they realize that it's over too, so they siding as best with the white folks that they can side with. That way when Judgment Day come to America, at least they'll be able to just, still enjoy certain privileges and everything. But the majority of us are, F you, and I won't say the rest of the words, and end with an ED. Right. So, no, family is serious. We just want us to, and Africans is more than just our business organization, our tours and everything. It's Marcus Garvey. It's Marcus Garvey as the greatest Pan-African visionary in the 20th century and probably greatest of all time. The plan has been laid out already, family. We just need to follow it and get it done. For those of us who have skills and great minds and energy, we got to reverse the brain drain. The brain drain was all of the great minds were stolen from the African continent, and still now all the great minds are still being stolen from the African continent. White folks are offering our people all kind of, paid in full scholarships and opportunities to work and do business in America. So it's a consistent game of drawing and pulling the great minds out. That way the continent is weak so they can go in. And when I mean they, I'm talking about the white devils from European and Asian nations that are right now currently taking up the majority of the resources on the continent and the investment. So, that's the game that we're talking about. Anything you want to add, brother, before we close?
I think just to close on it, he hit the head on the nail when we're talking about skills. Brothers and sisters, please just develop your skills in your respective industries. Do what you have to do here. Learn your trades, learn your skills. All these things are going to help us when we're talking about nation building and Pan-Africanism. You have to think about our young sisters and brothers. What are we looking towards for the future for them? Is it just where we're focused on America and we're not really thinking about what they're going to do in the future? We don't really have anything set up for them. So we really have to focus on our skills so that when we're ready to build, that we're going to develop our infrastructure, develop what we need. That's really what it really comes down to.
Absolutely, brother. And just appreciate you sharing that. And I'm hoping, family, you see our view and you see our energy.
Yes, sir.
And you see what we're doing.
Busy.
Yeah. And it's just a lot of business and things. We spend most of our time working, so unfortunately we don't do a lot of videos, long videos. We just try to get right to the point and get back to work, and then keep on building with the people that are reaching out to us and see our vision. So one of the things is we don't need everybody, or we don't need the whole of everybody, because we understand that it's not realistic that everyone is going to get these things, because many of us, even in our depression and our oppression, are very comfortable, in America,
come for the table.
Like you're there on the plantation, and that paycheck is nice. But when you look at that paycheck, it goes into negative, because you don't own any of this stuff that you're investing or buying. And family, we can go on for a little bit more, but we're gonna close, and family, link with you. So check out our website, africafortheafricans.org, and join us in Ethiopia coming up November 2018 with an optional Tanzania journey, and see us and visit us and connect with us and join a journey of a lifetime to Ghana every May. And then we'll see you in Southern Africa, South Africa, Zambia, Zimbabwe, and Botswana in November 2019. And then just keep in touch with our website, Facebook, YouTube, and then other elements of what we have. And if you have any recommendations for those who you feel that will see our vision and be open to want to invest and do business in Africa, send us their link and connect with us, and we're serious about what we're about. Right. And you see me in Ghana next month. We have a whole bunch of incredible documentation for you, especially on the repatriation community there in Techiman in the Bronghafa region. So my brother, it's been good.
Yep.
And we're gonna keep it strong, family. And we'll catch you on the next episode. The journey continues. The revolution continues. Black Power, family.